Welcome to Electrified. It's your host, Dylan Loomis. Quick shout out to my new or updated patrons, Daniel L., Joe D., and Charles H. Thank you for choosing to support the channel. Thanks to everyone for your patience this past week. I'm definitely still not 100%, but I'm itching to do something productive, and I have at least enough energy for a quick video today. First up today, looking at Tesla in Germany. According to KBA registration data for 2022, Tesla sales are up 76.2% compared to 2021. And remember, this is without Giga Berlin reaching volume production. Full BEVs also grew to make up 17.7% of the German car market throughout the year. Zooming out to all of Europe, only 20% of the 230,000 Tesla sales in the region in 2022 were actually produced at Giga Berlin. Troy is expecting that number to hit 52% in 2023. With Giga Berlin currently producing somewhere in the neighborhood of 3,000 cars per week, that's about 150,000 cars for the year. This factory has a capacity of 500,000 at least for this initial phase one, which it will hit at some point. So once Giga Berlin comes online, hitting closer to 100% of the factory capacity, these year-to-date Tesla registrations in Europe will look even better for 2023 and beyond. We also got this chart from Sam Corris at ARK Invest, US new vehicle market share change since 2020. You know, there's a reason that I always tell people, when in doubt, just zoom out, because you start to see things and trends like this. When it comes to new vehicle sales in the United States over the last 3 years, Tesla's market share has been up over 240 basis points or 2.4%. And yes, companies like Ford, GM, and Honda have seen their market share decrease over the last 3 years. And what's even worse for some of these companies over here is that while their market share has gone down, yes, they're selling more electric vehicles, but that also means they're selling less of their profit-making ICE vehicles, which we're about to find out because Ford is breaking out its EV sales in Q1 of this year. And just a fun fact from Drive Australia, the Model 3 ended Toyota's 28-year winning streak in Australia in the mid-size sedan category after the Model 3 posted 10,877 sales in Australia last year, beating the Toyota Camry's tally of 9,538. And yes, we're still just getting warmed up in the Australian region, as full BEVs only made up 3.1% of all new motor vehicle sales in 2022. Yashu shared this excellent clip from Tom Zhu talking about a more affordable Tesla in the Chinese market. We actually talked about this interview last year, but I think this is a great time to play this clip again.
觉得他真的是至少我认识的地球上最聪明的人啊。最近的一次建议，我们更多的是讨论关于这个产品上面的。我们当然这个事情实际上是半公开的哈，就是我们曾经说过，要在中国原创的设计、工程研发和生产制造出来一款车，代表中国的这个美学的这个元素，然后同时最后这个代表中国的工程力量的水平，然后最后这个销售到全世界去。然后他对这其中呢这个提供了很多的非常好的一些观点。那么立马我们就回来开始落实，对吧？我们大张旗鼓的现在到处招人啊！你们大家如果有这个好的汽车设计
欢迎投简历，
工程非常欢迎这个大家。我们现在求贤若渴啊，求贤若渴。这是在中国我觉得是一个很重要的一个机遇。那么你现在在街上看到一款车，你一看这是一款美国车是吧？这是肌肉车，美国车。然后这一款一看就经济适用型，这是这个日本车的这个造型哈，或者是一些元素。然后但是你说什么时候我们看到一辆车这一看就是一款中国车啊？现在暂时还没有。那么我们期待哈，这个现在希望尽我们所能。
This interview was from February 2021, and the full thing will be linked below. And for some reason, people always seem to forget about this. Tesla Shanghai Research and Development Center and Tesla Shanghai Gigafactory Data Center have officially landed. Tesla Asia tweeted this out October 25th, 2021. If you were watching Electrified at the time, we talked about this. The main product being developed at this R&D center in Shanghai will be the future $25,000 EV at a little bit of inflation, sure, but it's designed in China to suit the tastes of local customers. Now, when Tesla decides to unveil this model is anybody's guess, but I can assure you they're absolutely working on it as we speak. From Drive Tesla Canada, the New York City administration announced it's replacing 925 ICE vehicles in the government fleet with around 1,000 EVs. It will also install 315 new EV chargers in the city. The plan is to run an all-electric light and medium-duty fleet by 2035. With this new funding, New York will acquire 382 Chevy Bolts, 360 Ford E-Transit vans, and 150 Ford F-150 Lightning pickups. You may remember last year we talked about the New York City Police Department spending around $12 million buying 250 Tesla Model 3s for its fleet. We got an update from Wuwa on Giga Shanghai resuming production after the shutdown for the last week of 2022. And remember, the Chinese New Year holiday will actually be toward the end of January, specifically January 20th to January 31st, and it is expected that Giga Shanghai will be shut down during this time. Now, sadly, it's anybody's guess if those reports are accurate, but if so, that would mean Tesla is going to have from about January 3rd to the 19th to ramp up production before that holiday shutdown. In this most recent video, Wuwa said he counted 45 haulers parked on site at Giga Shanghai, which is the most he's seen so far. And he concluded saying the rumors of Tesla Shanghai not resuming work are not valid. Speaking of Giga Shanghai, we got the wholesale sales figures for December. They came in at 55,796. So plugging that data into the chart, it would slot in right here, which yes, gives us a new record for the quarter when it comes to the wholesale figures of 227.7 thousand. However, we are yet to get the domestic or retail sales and the export numbers for the month, as well as production, which we should have within the next week or so. Then we can update our inventory number as well. So clearly a slowdown for the month of December, but again, anybody who's been paying attention has been expecting this to some degree. Now, more importantly, what does this mean for Tesla going forward? Well, if you go to the Tesla China configurator, you will see this up top. Orders delivered by February 28th are still eligible for some limited time offers and subsidies. If you click Learn More, this is what you see. Still, if you buy the corresponding auto insurance through Tesla's cooperative insurance agency, that's good for 4,000 yuan, and just taking delivery of a Model 3 or Y from January 1st to February 28th will get you a delivery incentive of 6,000 yuan. Adding these up, that's 10,000 yuan, or in the neighborhood of 1,500 US dollars. And we have to remember the government subsidies in China have indeed expired that were there for almost the better part of a decade. So that pure electric subsidy of 12,600 yuan, or around 1,800 US dollars, is now gone. And rarely do I agree with JP Morgan, but one of their analysts said in a note they're expecting a transitional pain period from January to February industry-wide for sales of EVs in China, saying sales could be down anywhere from 40 to 60% from year-end levels, not only because those subsidies are gone, but the cyclical nature of car sales in general. And to try to set expectations, William Li, the chief exec of NIO, said it could take until May for China's EV market to begin to recover. It will take time for both the supply chain and consumer demand to recover. All of that to say, just set your expectations for Tesla China properly over the next few months. I did just want to take a quick second to touch on Tesla's Q4 delivery numbers. So a few things to keep in mind. Tesla told us numerous times they were going to be unwinding the delivery wave in China in Q4. In practice, this means more vehicles in transit at the end of the quarter and more production that will be undelivered by the end of each quarter. Tesla just grew to a point where there were not enough available ships to do some of the exports, so any increase in inventory, the way I see it, is not from a lack of demand, but rather due to delivery logistics. So there's in the neighborhood of 30,000 cars that should be delivered sometime in Q1. Because yes, there are still some ships carrying cars from Shanghai to Europe and surrounding areas that were not delivered in time for Q4 deliveries, but of course they will show up in Q1. And as we've been saying on the channel now for weeks, yes, we should expect a delivery slowdown given the economy and macro factors, but zooming out, Tesla still grew year over year at a 40% clip. And Elon has told us many times that 50% year over year growth number is not going to be perfectly linear. It will not be exactly 50% every year. One year it could be 65%, maybe one year it's 35%, but on average, this will work out to 50%. And if you go back to 2021, guess what? Tesla grew 88% year over year. So if you want, just say, hey, Tesla had some of that 50% growth baked into 2021. So with all of the challenges in 2022, 40% growth is actually still pretty good. So when we look back at all that 2022 had for us, COVID shutdowns in China, the Elon and the Twitter saga, Elon selling around $23 billion of Tesla stock, historic hikes in interest rates, the Inflation Reduction Act uncertainty. I mean, honestly, the list goes on, but at the end of the day, Tesla still grew its deliveries by 40%, while the stock price was down 70% for the year. And coming into 2022, Tesla's market cap, which is this blue line on the bottom, was hovering around $1.1 trillion. Fast forward to the end of 2022, and it was in the neighborhood of $348 billion, losing over $600 billion in market cap. And we'll talk more about this in the future, but I do think we're nearing the bottom. I don't know that we're there yet, but at some point, maybe in the first half of this year, we could actually put in a stock market and Tesla bottom, then seeing a recovery potentially in the back half of 2023 and into 2024. So like I said, we could absolutely still go lower. I do expect Q1 to be very choppy from a stock market perspective. However, personally, I do think most of the pain is already behind us. So those brighter days ahead that Elon has been talking about could come as soon as the second half of this year, if I had to guess. And when it comes to this nonsense, I guess our first mistake should have been expecting our government to do something that makes sense, but it's not over yet as there is a comment period. I will also include Farzad's link to the petition below. Make sure you sign that if you haven't already. And I will put this email address below that we should all send emails to before February 28th this year with our thoughts on how the government is right now handling the Inflation Reduction Act qualifications. So let's at least do what we can do to make some noise, and we'll see if they hear us and change their ways. But that's all I have in me for today. Hope you guys have a wonderful day. Please like the video if you did, and a huge thank you to all of my Patreon supporters.